Hello. We will now welcome our two panelists, Anh Phạm, a product designer at ShopBack, and Chris Nguyen, the former head of product design at Ascent Groups in Bangkok. Carrying on with the theme on Chris' previous talk, UX Getting Started Guide, our panel sessions today will give you insight on how to get started and transition into UX and product design. So, first, can you two introduce yourself so that the audience could get to know?
And you want to go first?
Sure.
Yeah, lady first.
Hello everyone. Hello Chris and everyone who's watching the live stream. So my name is Anh. I'm working for ShopBack. It's the reward cashback platform in Southeast Asia, Korea, Australia, and Taiwan. I'm focusing on the loyalty program for them, and so I'm working in this product industry for about 7 years. Nice to meet you all.
Okay,
and I'm Chris. Yeah, sure. So I think you might already know me if you saw the last one. If you didn't, I am a product designer, and really the focus for the past couple of years is really building design organization and teams. So focusing on things like design ops, within it, workflow, infrastructure, and people. So getting more out of the the digital product design, but focusing more on how design can affect organizations, or how can we market the value internally. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So let's just start with a brief discussion about the field. So, for example, so that people can really know what UX is about. For example, let's talk about in the UX field, what's exactly product designers and what's a UX or a UI designer.
And do you want me to go first, or do you want to take the question?
Yeah.
Okay, so for the term in nowadays, different industry, different company, they may have a slightly different title for the term product designer, or we also UI UX designer. UI user interface, UX user experience, and as simply as out, it's about your experience, and your experience can be everywhere. It can be online, offline. It can be the customer service. And talking about experience is not only the head of the product design or the product owner, but everyone in the company or in the product work together to create a good experience. Today you are sitting on the chair, and the chair can have you comfortably sitting in a long hour for the office. That's also a good user experience.
Yeah, and I just want to add to that. Yeah, I just want to add to that, which is to give people maybe in terms of what they actually do. So let's start from the UI, which is what the customer really touches and sort of interacts with. So for a UI designer, you might care about things like color theory, typography, layout, transitions, interaction designs, design systems, building that. And then for UX, you might specialize more in that research part of it, the information architecture, prototyping, content strategy, and I think you mentioned service design. And then for me, the product designer, in the digital space or in the tech firms, is actually encompasses both of them, but also they have a very unique and progressive sort of stance where they actually care more about business value and product value. So marrying the business objectives with the customer and product value. And really they use their toolbox to sort of prove what to build, right? So they have more, I guess, power in a sense to be I think we should do this because this is how, I think it would work, and then go to prove that. Sometimes UX designers and UI designers don't have that capability. So typically I would say is product designers have more of that all-encompassing. And when you see on job descriptions, it means it's a good thing, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And in a nutshell, you can compare product designer is somewhat like associate product manager in a way, because you need to fully understand your product. You need to fully understand what is the business need and really to provide a design that even like can have one side to solve the business problem to bring up the metric, the needle, and on the other side still preserve a good user experience.
Sure. So we have just had a couple of talks about few different earlier this afternoon. So let's talk about other roles in UX. So we could give our audience an idea about the field in general. So in your experience, what are other roles that you have worked with that belong to UX?
Chris, you can test that one.
Yeah, okay. So like roles in UX, oh my God, there's so many, right? But I haven't worked with that many of them, but it's kind of like development, right? When like software engineering started, it was very like, oh, he's an engineer or he's a coder. And then you have like site reliability engineers, security engineers. And so the field of UX is also having that. Like it typically follows that development pathway. Things like design ops are similar to DevOps. So, okay, let me just try and list out what I have heard that not necessarily worked with. So a user researcher, an anthropologist could be in the UX organization, right? A service designer, a usability tester, a prototyper, obviously visual design. I don't know. And yeah, okay, so I think I've run out, but like it's so big that it's so deep that you can do like pretty much anything you want in this world. Yeah.
I want to ask on like to me, engineer is also a part of user experience. Because like especially in the product company, usually the designer, we need to work closely with the engineer to know that what is capable, what is can do and cannot do, what are the technical limitations, or what we usually call legendary thing that we need to deal with. So yeah, in product company, I would love to like go into the room, brainstorm with the engineering as well, and listen to and like many times they can give a very good suggestion that we never think of, because at the end of the day they are very like logic people, they understand the whole system. So yeah.
Yeah, that's quite comprehensive. So, how did you get started? Can you tell us about your journey to become a product designer?
Oh, sure. So, my background is like I study multimedia design. So I actually have background in terms of design, but in the early day, I'm more focusing on to become a movie maker and animation stuff. So coming to US, it's just like during my internship, I just want to explore into the tech industry, and turning out I love it. I love the way like I need to actually logical thinking, student study about like psychology, user behavior, on kind of stuff. Why film? I would say a little bit more like on creativity side. So that's how I started to be a product designer. And most of the time, I guess for the transforming between profit or like or art student in general to become UX, I self-taught myself by reading book and online course. There are many free courses out there.
Okay. How about Chris? How was it for you to transitioning from a business to education jobs? Anything that you have learned in your previous experiences that you might found very useful in your UX career?
Yeah, okay. So there's a two-part question. So the first one, like, how do I do it? So look, I moved to Vietnam when I was like 26, and was traveling, and then basically just got a job in a tech industry, and was like, holy crap, tech is amazing, right? And then I found out when I was freelancing, I was like, holy shit, design is amazing. Okay, cool. And then I fell into my first product design job, but like the first thing I had to do that week was design a Android app. And I was like, what the hell? Like, how do you even do this, right? I don't even know how I got the job. But anyway, so that's how I fell into it. It was very like by accident and just like saying yes to things. That's how I fell into it, being curious. So I was very lucky in that sense, right? Someone made like gambled and said, okay, this guy seems cool. And then what skills have I learned? Right? What skills have I learned is the second part. Oh my God. I think throughout my experience, I think different companies and different working environments has taught me a lot. But one of the biggest things I learned early was you have to be your own advocate. Not in terms of like you, like, oh, Chris is amazing, but like what you believe in, right? So like if you like UX and if you think that your company should value it more, then you should speak up about it, right? And then at a certain point, you outgrow that company, and then you can move on to a company that really cares about it. And then when you find that place, then it's like, okay, they really care about it, but what are they doing about it? And then so you basically just discover a lot of things. But like I said before, it's like the soft skills of like storytelling and communication is something so undervalued. So I know as designers, we like tools and get our hands dirty, but sometimes it's about people. Actually, all the time it's about people. But that's really the focus, right?
Yeah, I definitely agree on that. Sorry, Sean. So like the more you become senior in your role, especially like product design and stuff, I feel like communication is the most important thing. It's almost like you're doing a marketing head to sell your design, and it's a matter of if the tool design is like the same quality, the same great user experience, then it's about who can sell the idea better. So storytelling, the ability to really like speak concisely and explain why the reason why this is very good and how it can help the designer together with some like data to data to back up for your design is a really good one.
Okay, great. I think people skill, communication skill is one of the most important things. But how about skills, different skill that people might need to get their first UX job? And do you have any ideas about that? Like skills that.
I guess it's really it also like a little bit depending on like the chance you get the job in your first company, because like I would say have a basic knowledge about how the design thinking and the design process would be. UI definitely a need because when you are at entry level, most of the company will they look inside. The thing that impress is the surface. Then they will look into more like your thinking process and stuff. The more you grow senior, then the thinking, the process is more important than the UI one. Then study about user research, how to validate your idea, and yes, and I guess like just start as soon as you can, and then you can learn along the way. You can find your own formula. Everyone has different formula to be success. It's not always you need to be good at UX. Some designer they're more into UI, into interaction, so you can also go that way. Or some designer they are more interested into research. So along the way they turn from UI UX designer become a researcher. So that's also another way.
Okay, sure. So, and it's about getting the right skill for your first UX jobs. It's more important than anything else. So, Chris, you have talked about the different way that people can get started, like, for example, design boot camps, pay or free courses, design school, etc. But do you have a preferred way of learning and why?
Yeah, like similar to what Anne said was like just do it. Right? That's my preferred way. Yeah. So tell you a story yet again. Sorry, I'm full of stories because I'm an old man. So I just basically decided to leave my job at the beginning of the pandemic. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll travel. And then the pandemic hit. I was like, oh, damn, I'm at home for like 8 months. So I've always been fascinated with like podcasts and YouTube. Like videos. So how did I do it? I just started making it, right? Like I would put out the worst quality things that you could ever see. And then the next time I would be a little bit better. The next time I would be a little better. But how do I do it? Was just consume as much content as possible. So like some people like reading, right? Some people are avid readers. I'm not. I prefer learning like visually, audibly, like, and kinesthetically. So actually doing it. So for me, like actually making it and the process of making it will teach me so much more than like someone just telling me something, because I'm like, I don't get it, right? So that's really the main thing. It's, remember what I said in the talk is like UX is a vocation. So you have to do it, and you will never become a successful designer if you just read about it. Like Bruce Lee says, if you want to learn to swim, get in the water. That's exactly what you have to do. And that would be my advice.
Okay. So I think one last question for me then. What do you think about the different type of companies or design team that you have worked with in your careers, and any pros and cons for different type of that?
All right, maybe I start first. So I did work in like different kind of companies. So I started as working as a intern designer and transformed to UI in a design consultant agency company, and then slowly I start to cooperate with like young startups, helping out my friends, and also like moving to work for the product company. So different company may have different pros and cons. Like for consultant company, the good thing is that you actually have a lot of chance to work with different industry, different client, different design project. If you don't like one project, you have the chance to work in another one. So yeah, there is a lot of things that you can learn with various client, customer, and design industry type. The downside of it is also depending on the size of the consultancy, but the downside is sometimes you cannot follow the project to evoke it, to develop it, to see its role over time. You need to deliver it to your customer. While in the product company, you have a chance to actually working from start to end to influence your project and to really grow it at your own child to make it better and see it improve every day. Also, when you have like a senior position or like when you are taken as a design manager, you have ability to actually involve into the design culture to make the company to be more design centric, or like to develop the design process inside that company as well.
Okay, that's great. Okay, wonderful stuff. Q&A time. From one of the audience just asked, what can junior product designers do to improve their design thinking and problem-solving abilities?
Ask lots of questions. Should I elaborate on that? Okay. Okay, cool. So I think it all starts with questions, right? I think just asking a lot of questions and not assuming that that's something is the answer. If there's an assumption, call it out. If you have a hypothesis, like I think this is going to work because of X, Y, and Z, then it's your job to prove that you're wrong, not that you're right, right? You're trying to find ways to prove that you're wrong. And it all starts with, I think, why, what, how, like, all the questions that you think of would help you. I think also getting used to design thinking, like let's say you get in an argument, right, with your mom, and you're like, why do I always have the same argument with her, right? Then you can say, how does design thinking help me here? Okay, well, who's the user and what do they want, right? Let me try this idea. If you still get into the argument, you better go back to your research, right? Or like try a different approach. Like, so it actually can be adapted in so many parts of life. Like the way I prepared for this conference was design thinking. And I had this whole process where, okay, well, what the users want to hear and then what content. So like you can try it in ways that are outside of design that you will find really, really valuable. And you just like get more used to thinking like understand that problem first, understand who it's for, and then work towards your solution and not just jumping straight in. Yeah. Do you have anything, Anne, to add?
I would say I like your answer about like arguing with your mom and stuff. So I would say it's the main important thing is understand your user and understand your target segment. So when you talk to your mom, you need to use different language than you talk to your friends. And don't try to assuming that your mom can understand you because it's a generation gap. So that's the main thing about UX and try to put yourself in the user shoes.
Wow, that's very articulated. So another, Chris, why you are so handsome? Oh, this is by you. Okay, what do you recommend for a junior designer who is trying to highlight their specific UX expertise on their portfolio? I'm not quite get this through.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I get the question.
Need to elaborate on that?
No. Okay, so the question was, what advice would you give to a junior designer to highlight a specific expertise? I think the answer is in the question. Highlight that expertise, right? Like, do that thing that you want to highlight. Like, I don't know if I could give a better answer, to be honest.
Okay, so answer one of the questions in here is: have you ever worked with UX writers, and how do you find it working out?
Okay, so I did work with a UX writer in my previous company and current company. Usually, we treating UX writer as a part of product design. We keep them updating on what is the design intention of this feature, what we try to solve. And from that perspective, they can give us firstly the advice on how they think about this design solution. Secondly, they can provide the UX copy. UX copy is super important in a way that today, if you just take any screenshot of website or app, take out the text, then it's almost blank. So UX writer really have the design to be fruitful to the user, to have the user to navigate through the task seamlessly. And it even can help user to feel a sense of humor at some time, or easy them out when they met the error code like 101 and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, true. One of that is true. So I said that we wrap up our sessions by today. But before that, is there any advice, parting words that two of you would like to give our aspiring designers? Okay, well, please go first.
Okay, so I would say just stay curious, just do it, keep practicing. People may use like a lot of people for user experience, psychology and stuff, but to me they are very simple. Whatever interacting every day is user experience, and try to make it seamless for your user. Then you will figure out along the way.
Oh, straight.
Yeah, from me. Yeah, and from me. And I completely agree with you. That's brilliantly said, and I think the people that have joined this and they're listening or will listen, I think you've definitely made a good step. You're curious, so you've asked a question and you're here to listen to us talk about random stuff. But I think that also starts with your curiosity, right? And thank you again for giving us the time, and the event organizers, which is like super amazing. And follow me on YouTube.
Yes, please do. Okay,
that's
it for our sessions. So for the next one, we will take a short break for 10 minutes, and we'll be back with our keynote sessions. Thank you. See you soon.